If you thought part 1 of the OA was crazy and mind-bending, you are going to be even more confused by part 2. Now, while this is a spoiler-free review of part 2, I will be discussing part 1 a little bit. And so for that, there will be a few spoilers, I guess, for part 1. So if you haven't seen that, you may not want to watch the rest of this video. If you've already seen part 1 and just want to find out if part 2 is worth watching, then let's continue on. So if you remember at the end of part 1, Brit Marling, playing Prairie, has been shot. And she has been transported by ambulance, and the kids and BBA are running after her, chasing after her, and Steve is yelling, "No, take me with you, OA, take me." Part 2 opens up in San Francisco, where a PI named Kareem is hired to find a missing girl, Michelle, who looks an awful lot like Buck from part 1. It's hard to talk about part 2 without giving away spoilers, but to suffice it to say, there are answers given, but even more questions are raised, I think, throughout the series. And throughout this part in particular. If you want a full breakdown on part 2, I've done an explanation video and I've linked it down in the description below. All of the characters are back from part 1, but in this time, they're not necessarily in the way that you would be expecting it. There are also a couple of moments that just will blow you out of the water. You go, whoa, what? Wait. What? But just like in part 1, the mystery is there in part 2, and it just kept me coming back for more and more. I was totally intrigued in it because I found myself just loving the mystery and loving the story. The performances are spot on, and I love the fact that more characters get even more development in part 2, that we get to learn more and more about them, and that they take more of a front seat, that at times the boys and BBA, that's what the episode centers around. And I loved it. I love just getting to see their interactions, and as they're making a journey, how that's impacting them, how they're interacting with each other, and what that means for the bigger story. We also do, though, with Kareem and a few other new characters, we get to just find out more. And it really, what it is doing, it is just a building block on an already dense story. And it doesn't make it unknowable, but it just adds a whole new level of mystery and intrigue to it that, you know, kind of at some points makes you scratch your head, and at others is like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for next episode. Yes, stop making me wait. Now, I heard rumors that they had 5 total parts written out. So hopefully we won't have to wait 2 years before we get part 3. Unlike part 1, part 2 really answers a lot more questions, and like I said, it does raise a ton more, but at least we do get some answers. And I think if you enjoyed part 1, then you'll really enjoy part 2 as well. I mean, it will continue to melt your brain. There is sex and nudity, some violence, and a lot of profanity. I loved part 2 of the OA. I've already watched it twice and I'm beginning my 3rd time. I give part 2 5 out of 5 couches. Are you a fan of the series? Do you have a favorite character? I'd love to know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me.